Congress moves swiftly for veterans.
Wednesday, all but 3 senators approved a bill to improve veterans' access to health care and address this serious waiting list backlog issue plaguing the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And now joining us on the phone is Senator Tim Kaine, a member of the Armed Services Committee. He compromised with Republicans to get a VA bill passed. Senator, good morning.
Hey, Don and Katie, how are you guys?
Very well, and thank you for joining us. And Senator, can you lay out some of the key provisions of the bill?
Absolutely. So this scandal about the backlogs at the VA, just galvanized people up here like nothing I've seen in my time in the Senate. And we basically put a bill together to really go after the question of access to care so we can bring waiting times down. And it does a few things. First, significant funding for training of more medical professionals. That's part of the problem. The number of physicians and nurses needs to expand to take care of this larger veterans population. Second, more funding for some additional facilities to make the facilities more convenient to veterans. But probably the core of the provision, it's a different way of doing business, is for 2 years, we're going to try this. We're going to allow veterans who live more than 40 miles away from a VA facility or who live in an area where the VA waiting times are too long, we're going to allow them to access private health care providers instead of having to go to the VA for their medical conditions. And that will be an allowed part of their veterans' benefit. And we're going to do that as an experiment for the next 2 years and see, how it works, see how much we can bring down waiting times by doing it. But I think it's likely to be an experiment that, if successful, will then become part of the basic service model for how veterans can receive medical care going forward.
Senator, a big question a lot of veterans have is, when are they going to start to see these changes implemented?
The question is this, that both the House and Senate have moved very quickly to pass this legislation, and the House and Senate bills are slightly different, but the differences are not great. So there's going to be a conference committee between the two houses to hammer out remaining differences, and then it will go to the president's desk for signature. My understanding on the issue about access to medical care in the private sector, they'll have to work out some basic rules to how to make it happen. But that will become effective nearly immediately. Some of the funding for the expansions of medical professionals and facilities, obviously the funding will be available fast, but it will take some time to get those professionals trained or those facilities constructed.
Can you give it, I know it's tough to give an estimate, but are we talking months? Are we talking a year for the training?
My sense is that by the beginning of the summer, so probably by Labor Day, I would expect that we would have all of the basic rules worked out. I mean, and this assumes what I said earlier, which is if we reach an accord with the House, President signs the bill. I think by you'll probably see some action already starting this summer, but by Labor Day, there will be a full process in place where people can go to private physicians. Again, either if they live 40 miles away from a VA facility or if they live in an area where waiting times are too long. A lot of steps are also being taken by the VA with facilities, the VA in Hampton, the VA in Richmond, and others, to try to bring the waiting times down within the facilities themselves. There are some management issues, and the bill also deals with that and tries to hold the VA leadership more accountable for better management of the system to provide access.
So, Senator, what do you say to veterans who are on waiting lists or on no lists right now who are frustrated and they're probably depressed because the Senate and the House have not had a good track record of working together over the last few years? What do you want to say to those veterans right now about this process working its way through Congress?
Well, they have every right to be discouraged about the access issues. Now, the one thing I will say to them is, while I've heard a lot of complaints from veterans about access, waiting lists, I hear a lot of positives from veterans about the quality of care at the VA once they're there. So we shouldn't, paint with the broad brush and say the VA isn't doing a good job in providing quality care. They are. But in terms of folks who wonder if Congress will do the right thing, these bills move through both houses faster than anything that has come through these houses since I've been here. And I can guarantee with 100% precision, I know I'm right about this, that the houses will find a compromise and the president will sign this bill soon. I was a little bit worried, guys, last week, frankly, because in the Senate there were competing bills. There was a Democratic bill and a Republican bill. I was a co-sponsor of the Democratic bill. I went to our leadership and I said it would be a very bad thing for this to be a Democrat versus Republican thing. We all should be solving it together. And I give Senator Sanders and McCain a lot of credit. They realized that. They worked together. I was one of the 5 co-sponsors of this compromise legislation. And I'm very happy that we've set aside some of the normal partisan stuff or even the back and forth between the House and Senate to address this quickly. Veterans will see this passed and signed very promptly.
All right, Senator Tim Kaine, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. We appreciate it.
You bet, Don and Katie. Have a great day.
You too.